Danny Flexen for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Umar Sadiq. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It was just 10 days ago. It seems like a lot longer, probably more for you than for me, that you were challenging for the WBA gold title against Fedor Chudinov out in Russia.
hmm
And from what we've heard, you were kept in for observation in hospital in Russia after the fight. Just tell us a little bit about that, and obviously you're back home now.
Yeah. So I was in the fight, literally left everything I had in the ring, literally. Um, I knew I was ahead in the fight on neutral grounds, and my coaches were telling me that in the corner, you're ahead, you're ahead. But literally the day before the fight, we had found out that all of the officials, including the ref, were all Russian. They were meant to be neutral. That was what was contractually agreed. So that caused a lot of palaver, and I was potentially going to pull out at that point. But we took the fight anyway. So even when they were telling me that I was ahead, I was just like, I can't take this for granted. So I just carried on putting everything in every round. And even when I knew I'd done enough to win the round, I was trying to make it so clear that I couldn't be robbed. And Fed obviously just tucks up and comes forward, can take a fucking good whack, he can. Um, yeah, so the fight ended, and I put so much in it that when the fight got stopped, I was actually all right before the fight got stopped. I don't know if you've noticed, sometimes I might sit on the rope for a bit. It's a really bad habit. I've got to stop it. I sit on the rope a little bit. I let someone let off a few shots and I go back at them. That being said, I've never done it in a 12th round before. So, and the ref doesn't know me. So, when I'm there allowing him to punch away, the ref has jumped in and stopped it. But I was so focused on the finish line that as soon as the ref jumped in, I looked and was like, oh, it's over. And I just fucking fainted. Um, Fainted in my coach's arm. And then only briefly, then they pulled me to the side, put oxygen and smelling salts and whatnot. And I wanted to take it more out of that. It was more embarrassment at that point. It was just like, yo, like, I'm cool. Do you know what I mean? I know it's precautionary. So I took a few deep breaths because I know sometimes because the brain needs oxygen if it is damaged. So I took a few deep breaths. I felt fine. So I was like, guys, just take it off. I'm cool. I went and congratulated Fedor and the rest. They went to the back and I was having my I think it was VADA, I'm not sure, but my VADA tested and I had to pee. So I was drinking a lot of water for that. And then whilst I was doing that, I started to feel a bit of a headache because now the adrenaline is coming down. So in the ring, I felt fine. But whilst I'm waiting to pee, I'm like, oh, I've got a bit of a headache here. And I've just had a hard 12-round fight. I've been stopped. From my experience watching boxing, I probably should go to a hospital. So I mentioned it to my team. And I said, guys, I've got a bit of a headache. I think it's best we go to a hospital. So we went in. Oh, it was long. We ended up going to about 5 different hospitals. We went to a maternity ward because people were just referring us to different places. One was a maternity ward, so they had no business with us. Another place we were told had an MRI machine, but they only had an X-ray machine. So this, it's like early hours of Saturday morning in Moscow. We've got a minivan and we're just driving around to different places. I know. Eventually, we got to this place. I want to say the name. It's called Cliff Hospital. It's like the worst hospital ever. It genuinely made me feel like I was in prison. Genuinely. So anyway, this place had an MRI machine and a scan, and they said, "Well, we can see some damage, but the doctors who can read it properly are not in until Monday. So we're going to need to keep you in for observation until the doctors come." So reluctantly, I stay put, and then Monday comes, and they're not doing an MRI scan of me. So I was like, "What happened to the MRI scan?" And they were just dibbly dabbling, talking about maybe tomorrow and all of that. I was like, well, I've been here since Saturday morning. It's Monday now. There's absolutely no excuse. So I've done a run. What it was, I conditioned, yeah. The mattress was this thick. It was like a gym mat. And then the bed was a metal one with like my wire mesh, with wire metal mesh. So when you laid on it, you can feel the metal underneath the mattress. And also, I've been on this bed for 2 days in a row, so my back's starting to hurt at this point. And I'm asking, and it's a shared room. There's 5 other guys in this dorm. They say no one's allowed to visit because of COVID, but they've put me in a dorm with 5 other guys who are snoring, farting on the phone, random hours in the morning. And I'm like, yo, like, I need to go to a private room. Like, this ain't cutting it. And they're like, yeah, but we don't have anything until Monday. So everything's promised on Monday. Private room, your MRI scan's going to get reviewed. And then I couldn't eat the food either. So obviously I eat plant-based. The food wasn't plant-based. And what was plant-based just tasted like absolute crap. This is what I meant. It genuinely made me feel like, forget going to prison because this shit sucks. Normally I eat anything, but I couldn't eat their food. I couldn't eat the food. I couldn't leave. I was in a room with other people. It was just a fucking horrible experience. And at this point, I'd even forgotten about the head injury because the conditions there were just so bad. So anyway, so Monday, my team arranged for me to go to a private clinic. I do a runner from the hospital. Don't talk to anyone. I just do a run and get out. And I get picked up by one of my mates who lives out there. So we go to this private clinic, we get MRI scan, and we get the results. And oh yeah, another thing is they were saying even if they did the MRI on a Monday, they won't be able to give me the results until they discharge me, which is likely going to be Friday. I was like, based on what? Like, you just said you can't read the scan properly, so how do you now got to be here till Friday? So anyway, went to this private clinic, got it done, got the results literally in 5 minutes. And they said, well, you know, what's happened is you've got a bit of bruising to your frontal lobe, and there's a very slight tear on the left, or a slight bleeding, basically. They said it's very minute. It's consistent with when someone has a concussion. So I was like, cool. I mean, you know, I'm a boxer. I'm used to seeing people with concussion, so I can go. So I'm on my way to a hotel now because that place is shit. And now I'm getting calls from the hospital, and calls from the doctor who's looking after me in the hospital. He's calling me. He's calling the friend who's picked me up because he was translating for me. The Russian promoter's phoning. And they're all threatening that if we don't get back to the hospital, they're going to get part of a police warrant because I've done a runner from the hospital.
Oh, the first hospital, not the clinic.
No, the first hospital. So the clinic let me leave. So I was like, fuck that, I can't do that. We're going to the hotel. And then my mate starts bricking it. He's like, oh, I don't know. They've seen my car. They can send the police, all of that stuff. So he's proper bricking it. So I was just like, you know, so I said to them, tell them, if they've got me a private room, I'll come back. So he goes, yeah, we've got him a private room. So I was like, cool. So we go back. They've only stuck me back in the same dorm room. And he goes, what it is the private room, it's not going to be ready until tomorrow. So now the Russian promoter's come. He's gone, yeah, I've paid for it, and they're going to disinfect it today, and it'll be ready tomorrow. And I was like, what kind of disinfection takes 24 hours? But I was just like, you know, fuck it, I'm here now, just deal with it. So now my back's fucked as well. I'm saying to them, look, I need someone to look at my back. My back's absolutely fucked. I could barely stand straight. So and I sleep the Monday to Tuesday. Tuesday, my back's absolutely gone. And I know it's the bed. So I get out of bed, I go outside the dorm room, and I say, and now I'm protesting. I'm saying, I'm not going back in that room. I'm going to the private room you promised me, or you discharge me. Then, you know, I'm waiting there. They keep me waiting for like 5 hours. Still not eating. I've got all the food in. Like I said, my mate is ordering using their version of Uber Eats because I don't, you know, I can't write in Russian. So anyway, eventually they come to me and they go, oh, well, the room isn't available. So I said, well, yesterday you said you were disinfecting the room. So what room were you disinfecting? They couldn't think of a good answer. So now they've gone off again. 20 minutes later, they come back and they go, okay, well, yeah, we've got you another room. So they take me to this room, and there's a fella in there. It's like a 75-year-old man in there. It's got 2 beds in there. There's a nicer beds. There's a nicer room. It's like a private room, but it's got 2 beds. There's a 75-year-old man in there, and he's in fucking agony. He's going, I don't know what he's had, but whatever he had sounded painful. He's burping and the works. He can't keep the air in him. So I'm thinking, what kind of movie is this? And I didn't say, the first dorm room didn't have a shower. So they showed me this room next to it, this door next to it, and it goes, this is the shower, but you go in, there's a toilet, there's a sink, and there's a table on the side with different brands of baby wipes and a chair next to it. And so I was cleaning with baby wipes for 3 days. So and now I'm dying for a shower. I can't eat, can't stand straight. It's fucking horrible. I've got people from back home messaging me, I hope you're all right. I'm thinking, if only you fucking knew. That the thing that people are worrying about is fine. It's like the condition. So now I'm saying, look, like, just let me check out. No one's checking. You're telling me you're keeping me here for monitoring. No one's checking on me. I literally just lay in the bed all day and keep asking for shit that keeps getting promised tomorrow. So anyway, they've put me in this room with this fella. They've gone, we're going to get you a massage tomorrow. We're going to get your back looked at. All these promises. So I stayed there for the night. And then the next day, no one's come to me. It's come to like 5 p.m. And the doctor who's looking after me comes in and he goes, "Oh, are you all right?" And I goes, "No, I'm not all right. I'm not fucking all right." He had a translator with him. And so I says, "Well, my back's fucked. I barely got up because of my back. I need someone to look at it and I need a massage." "Oh, you know, well, the thing is, there are only two people in the hospital who do massages and they both leave at 4 p.m. No, well, why is that my fucking business? I've been in the same fucking place the whole day. Okay, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow." I was like, "No, you're not doing anything tomorrow. Anything you're doing for me, you're doing today. I'm not waiting for another tomorrow. This is Tuesday. No, this is Wednesday, sorry." So, long story short, on Wednesday, I said to them, "Look, you still haven't provided me any food like you promised. This isn't a private room. This guy's making all types of noises like he's dying. My back's fucked from your beds. No one's saying to me about my head, and I actually feel all right. The fact that I'm arguing with you tells you I'm all right." Sorry, some messages coming. So I just put my foot down and I said, "You either get my back seen to today or check me out while I'm doing a runner. And I don't give a fuck if you call the police at this point." I was ready to just go to a cell. That was that bad. Then they made some calls. I made some calls. I contacted Frank Warren. So things started moving, and then they came into me and they said, "Well, well, what we're gonna have to do." But they offered to inject me something to numb the pain, and I was like, "No, I'm an athlete. I need to fix the problem, not hide it." But long story short, I had to sign a refusal of treatment waiver to check out the hospital on Wednesday. But then this is Wednesday evening. But then my back was so bad that I couldn't try to get on a plane. So I ended up staying till Saturday in a nice hotel, to be fair.
At least something
But
was nice.
yeah, at least something was nice. But I was in absolute agony the whole time. Even on the plane journey back, I had to upgrade my seat to what they call it's like a comfort seat. It's basically like in between business and economy, and they were really nice seats. And I had to stand up every 30 minutes to massage, walk around, and all of that. Then I got back and I felt kind of all right. But then I got in a taxi home from Heathrow, and it took me over an hour to get home from the taxi. And I sat in the back because the cabbie wouldn't let people sit in the front, and it absolutely done my back over again. So I'm in agony as we speak from my back. I'm seeing someone tomorrow,
When
and
did you
again
get
on
back?
Thursday. I got back on Saturday. Today's Monday.
And so you're going
Yeah,
to get checked out tomorrow if you're back.
yeah, yeah. So so that's how that was. The whole thing about staying behind. It's a long story, but hopefully an
That's
entertaining
an
one.
entertaining story. Yeah, exactly. Not for you so much, but I'm
No,
sure
not for
people
me.
out there will enjoy it to an extent.
Yeah.
The injury you suffered, I know you said it's minute and everything, but will it have an impact on your future career? So will the board have an issue with it or whatever?
That I don't know. I do. I need to make some calls about that as well. Or Frank Warren Promotions are going to contact me because they're dealing with it. What I do know is that the results of the MRIs I had in Russia have been sent to the British Boxing Board, so they'll be compared to the MRIs that I've done previously to renew my license. And then my understanding is I'm going to have to do some sort of a CT scan or MRI scan to confirm that everything's all clear to get my license back again. So I don't know how long that process takes and what exactly happens, but I've always been a believer of health comes first. And even before I turned professional, I remember, leaving my accounting job and stuff without having to deal with a promoter. But even then I said, if I fail the brain test or the brain scan, I'm not going to try to force it. So I still stand by that. Hopefully everything's all right, and I'm going to go through the process, and I'm going to, what's the word for it? I'm going to cooperate with the boxing board and do everything that's asked of me to the best that I can. And hopefully it comes back clear because, as you can imagine, I've got fire burning inside me.
Yeah.
That being said, it's one of those things that's out of my control. And I tend not to emotionally attach myself to things that are out of my control. So I'm just going to go through the process. Hopefully it goes well and I can make a big comeback. And if it doesn't, then let's not think about that. But yeah, I'm open to whatever happens, and I don't know yet.
So you took the fight at very short notice, big step up in class, gave an
Mm-hmm.
incredible effort. I think
Mm-hmm.
you felt you were ahead. One judge certainly had you far ahead as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any regrets for taking the fight because of the consequences afterwards?
No, because when I took the fight, I took it believing I'd win, and that judge was probably the only one that was scoring it fair. True enough, style was made for me. I could have made that fight a lot easier than I did, but also I signed the fight based on the judges being neutral. It was going to be judges from other parts of the world outside of Russia and the UK, or there was going to be a UK judge, a Russian judge, and one neutral judge, and the ref was going to be neutral. But then, like I said, the day before, oh well, we kind of messed up. We couldn't get visas for everyone, so everyone's Russian. And I'm in the change room getting ready to get in a fight, and the ref doesn't give me instructions on watching my hands wrapped. It's a Russian ref who literally is from Moscow. So, I couldn't have foreseen that, so I can't regret that. The only thing that I would probably change is I might have paced myself a little bit better in the middle rounds. Or maybe in that last round, I wouldn't have stayed on the rope for so long, because I did have it in me to move out of the way. I just didn't. So there were no regrets. It's just the only two things I would have done different would have been pace myself a bit better in the middle rounds and not staying up, on the ropes in the 12th round. But there are absolutely no regrets, because, it's the gamble you take when you take a big risk like that. I took on a world champion on short notice. The fight was only really confirmed a week before the fight date. I flew out on Monday to fight on Friday to Russia, and he's backguarding a Russian in Russia with all Russian officials. And safe to say, everything was stacked up against me. But I also knew that winning that under those circumstances would mean, a very great victory, a historic one. And I just dared to be great. And there are no regrets for that, because I've come out with my health intact, and that's the most important thing.
Now, as you said, Chudinov's style was made for you. I think even people watching it and seeing him come out on top in the end would have said he's still got quite a limited style. But do you have kind of newfound respect for him, having now been in the ring with him and seeing how he makes that style work for him to an extent?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's one of those people that seems to be happy to take a shot to power up, to get you back. And so, he's incredibly strong and durable. And he can be hit a lot of times, but sometimes he's a lot harder to hit than it appears to be. Yeah. So, he does little things like he might just lean out a little bit at times, and then you're concerned about falling short. And every single shot he throws is heavy. Like, literally every single shot is a heavy shot. So there's that as well. You don't really want to be countered. And I guess being in Russia, I took more chances and got hit a lot more than I would have otherwise. Because I've been in with people who got faster hands than him, and they didn't hit me that much. But that's part of that experience as well. I've got respect for him in that he's got his style and he knows how to make it work. And that being said, I also know that having a full camp training for him, I'll still beat that style. And I think I proved that on the night as well. Because another thing you got to remember is the fight was September the 11th, right? So the 9th month of the year. Now, I boxed Cody Davis, a southpaw, in February. So right from the end of December, beginning of January 2020, I started training for a southpaw. Then I beat Cody, and right after I beat Cody, a couple of weeks after, I got offered the Lerone fight and took it. And then obviously Corona happened and all that. Lerone is also a southpaw and a counterpunching southpaw. He's on the back foot. So I spent all year training for southpaws, and for the most part, a southpaw who's a tricky back foot southpaw. And then I've had 1 week to switch all of that up and fight an orthodox fighter who's aggressive and can take a whack. So I deserve credit for that as well, for being able to make that adjustment in the way that I did under those circumstances as well. And then jumping up to fight at world level on my 12th fight on a week's notice. So, and I say a week's notice because although the fight was moved to me 3.5 weeks before the fight, we didn't actually come to final terms and agreements until a week before. So, yeah, there's a lot of positives to take from it, man. And should the fight happen again, I'm confident that even with a 6-week camp, I'll definitely do the business and make it look easier.
And you said about signing a contract for the Lerone fight, which was constantly delayed. Are you still in position for that? I mean, obviously we need to see about your health and everything, but aside from that, did taking the Chudinov fight stop you being in that pole position for the British title?
Not that I know of, because, like you said, the fight is signed, and when you sign a fight with a promoter, usually if you have another fight, it's okay so long as the promoter permits it, and obviously Frank Warren's permitted it. But I don't know the exact legalities and technicalities around that. Like you said at the start of your question, my concern now is my health. So get healthy and then be approved to box, and then I'll start thinking about what to do. But You know, I've got a manager now, which is great. So I've got someone else to do all the thinking for me, which is nice. I can just chill out, focus on my recovery, and know that everything else is being sorted. Whereas, since I lost to Chelly, well, not since since mid last year up until pretty much now, I've essentially been doing most of the work myself. So all the decision making, getting all the fights, and even when I was boxing in small horse shows, I was contacting the promoters directly. I was doing everything. And now I don't need to do all of that anymore. So I don't have the answers basically. As much as it.
Yeah, that's fine. On the subject of your recovery, back aside, have you had any complications or anything since you've been back? Have you? Because like they said, even if it was a minute bleed, you said it's consistent with a concussion. So have you had any concussion-like symptoms since you've been home?
Not since the night of the fight. To be honest, like I said, after the fight, I was that exhausted, I fainted, and the next thing I knew, I was in a chair going, "Ah, fuck, I fucked it." But and then so that I've got a bit of lapse of memory in that moment. But then I watched the video that reminded me of everything. But outside of that, I remember everything else. And one of the main symptoms of concussion is memory loss, isn't it? So now, fortunately, I'm well, man. I'm good. I've had some wars in my past, like only 3 rounds in amateurs, but then also in sparring, I've sparred, some heavyweights and some cruiserweights. I've taken some heavy shots. And like I said, Fedor Chudinov, he's not the stampiest of punches, but every punch is absolutely heavy. Like every punch is respectable, including the jab. And, I was in uncharted territory, still taking those punches and still on my feet. So, I can take a good punch and be all right.
Oh, no one doubts your chin or your bravery at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, because the only time I've ever been down in amateur or professional boxing was against Chelly, and that was a balance thing. If you watch it
Yeah,
back
it's a flash
carefully,
knockdown. Yeah.
yeah, well, it was more. So the way his hand came down, the weight of the punch pushed me back, and then my feet were close together, so I couldn't get one foot behind the other one quick enough. So if you see, even as I was going down, I was looking at him and laughing on my way down because it was just one of those things where I was like, "This is a knockdown, and there's nothing I can do about it." That's not to say I don't get hurt. I mean, every fighter gets hurt, but um, what I'm trying to say is that I can take a good whack for a long time. And yeah, I was all right in the fight. I was all right after the fight, and I've been all right since.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's good to see you back in the UK, especially now you've described the horror of the
Uh,
stay in the Russian hospital. I mean, it doesn't make me
yeah.
want to go over there anytime soon, I've got to say.
Uh, well, in fairness to the Russians, I was told after that was one of the worst hospitals in all of Moscow. So there's that to read into it. But yeah, it was fucking horrible. Horrible.
You've conveyed that accurately, I think.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to see you in such good spirits, and I mean, I'm not a doctor, but you seem okay. You seem fresh and happy, happy to be
Yeah, I
home,
mean,
probably. Um,
yeah, it's a neuro injury, and some of the things that go with that are your speech, maintaining your track of thought, memory, those types of things, blurred vision. But as you can see, I'm fine. I'm articulating myself well. I'm able to recall accounts of things that happen. I'm fine, man. I'm good. I'm good. It's just I just need this back fixed so I can get. Again. But maybe that's happened because I'm supposed to rest. Like, I actually don't rest, which is why I'm able to go out and do 12 rounds against Chudinov on a week's notice. Like I'm always working, but now I've been forced to rest, which is all right, but it's fucking painful. Yeah, but it feels like you're coming to the end of it now. I just wanted to also say the support's been unreal, man. Like from when I announced the fight, there were a lot of people that were wishing me well, and I can tell that a lot of them didn't necessarily think I had a good chance of winning, but still supported me, and I appreciate that love. But then after, I was just like, I'm still trying to respond to all the messages, and if there's anyone watching this that I haven't responded to, believe me, I promise, I'm getting to you. So it's just it makes it a lot nicer to know that people recognize what was done, and it makes me feel more optimistic about being able to come back into boxing at a decent enough level because I lost before on my fourth fight, and that was a very long journey back. Whereas this feels a bit different, but we never know. This is boxing, so let's see. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the love that everyone's been showing. I really appreciate it. It helps, deal with even the hospital and stuff a lot better. And I look forward to hopefully being back in the ring and entertaining you guys before the end of the year.
Great stuff. We'll obviously keep in touch and let us know how it's going on the road to recovery.
Will do.
Thanks, Umar. Take care.